Like sometimes even religious leaders, they do the same, they eat the same thing. So they may talk about peace, but okay, the base of peace is non-violence. You don't create violence, so violence doesn't come back to you. So just talking about peace doesn't create peace. It's unfortunate, but doesn't create peace. And even peace, what they'll do with your peace. Okay, you are peaceful. You can see peace, when you say peace, mean in the normal parlance, newspaper parlance means that people, human beings are not killing each other. That's what we mean by peace. Somebody's not shooting at you, you're not shooting at anybody. But there is no peace with the animals. There's a famous Bushism. You know Bushism? There was President Bush of North America. So sometimes he would say things that don't make any sense. So they're famous as Bushisms. Like sometimes he would say things like, we want that every man be able to put food on their family. Instead of put food on the table, put food on the family. So one time he said something, we want the human and fish can live peacefully together. Which doesn't make any sense because, first of all, fish live in the water, the humans live in the earth. So how can they live? Plus, he wasn't saying stop fishing. He wasn't saying stop fishing. So it doesn't make any sense. How about that? It's funny, no? Yes. So it doesn't make any sense. But there is a war going on. There is a war going on. Even when you say peace, it's only between, there is a conflict going on between human beings, which are much more, of course, equipped, and the rest of the world. Now I can pull out the statistics of how many fish are killed. They cannot even kill. So there is a war. Now we are here sitting in Munich. If you go in the North Sea, there are people who are now killing fish. And all over the Sea of Japan, Indian Sea, Indian Ocean, everywhere they're killing. So there is a war going on between this. It's interspecies war. Of course, again, low-class people are allowed to eat fish and things like that. Srila Prabhupada used this. Also, this is controversial for many, where Srila Prabhupada says a particular class of men is allowed to eat meat. According to various circumstances injunction, the Shudras are allowed to eat fish after offering goats or other insignificant animals. So this is controversial because in the modern world, that tends to flatten up. There's no distinction. So here, there are two controversial things. One is that there are human beings of different classes, according to their nature, according to their mentality, and their duty is also different. The other thing is that there are also animals of different value. Now, some people may say, no, they're all animals, all creatures, either of God or nature. In fact, in GV, Govardhana Kovile, some people came and criticized, why only cows? Why only cows? So the devotees kind of kept some mules and some horses. And these mules stink so bad. You've been to GV, right? You saw the mules. Probably you smelled them. And these mules smell so badly, right? And the cows smell so good. Mate, they do nothing all day, both of them. But the mules smell so badly. And so there's this mentality, all the animals are the same, all the human beings are the same. No, unfortunately, no. In the spiritual world, of course, everybody is transcendental. Cows, trees are all divine beings, radiant, eternal, Satchitananda bodies. But here, no, it's not like that. So this is very controversial. And many, of course, we need to be able to help people understand that killing some animals have more karma, and some animals have less karma. There is karma, of course, because you're interrupting their life cycle, but there is difference. And this is hard for human beings, especially meat eaters, to understand, because they're very equipoised. They eat any animal. They eat anything that moves. Okay, so these are some ideas.
Yes, I have one question actually. Even in Kali Yuga, we see in part what Srila Prabhupada writes. Kali worshippers, they sacrifice goats. So what happens by that? What is the karmic reaction for that? Is it okay to do that, or it brings some sinful reaction?
Let's define okay. It's like saying if you break your leg, Krishna forbid, if one breaks one leg, then you got to go for weeks with the plaster of Paris, right? So if you ask, is it okay to go with plaster of Paris? Well, it's not okay. It's not natural. You don't need But if you need it, it's good. It's important. So it certainly limits your movement, limits your agility. But so it's not normal, but it's necessary. So there are some people who, no matter what, they will kill animals. Some of us may not understand. Of course, I was killing, not personally, but I was eating meat. But now we kind of hard to see a creature and say, okay, I'll kill it and I'll eat it. It's just outside our range of feelings, right? But some people don't feel like that. You know, we were just coming from Mayapur to Calcutta, and also in Calcutta, you see these meat markets, and it's here in the West is very much covered. The package, the meat, they don't look like meat anymore. There was this famous campaign by McDonald's they had this, what was his name? The clown? Ronnie McDonald? They had the clown who advertised for McDonald's, and the clown at one point says, you know, hamburgers come from the hamburgers tree. So the violence is smoothed out. You don't see it. In the West, it's all packaged. Of course, for us, it's horrible that you can see the flesh, red flesh in the supermarket. But people don't think. They will never kill an animal themselves. In fact, they will have dogs and things, and cats. They will never kill a cat. They will never kill a dog. But they go in the supermarket, they take chicken breasts, chicken legs, this and that. Yesterday we were sitting at the gate waiting for the flight to Munich in Dubai, and two, I think, German couple. You can see a nice boy, nice girl, sit down, but they were eating a McDonald's hamburger. They don't see it. They will never kill a cow. They will never kill a cow. But in fact, some vegan advertisement, they make the scene, somebody sitting in the restaurant, they say, I would like some lamb. Huh? Say, okay, please come. They take him to a room. There is a lamb there. Yeah, please kill him, and then we'll eat. I said, I cannot kill him. Well, that you want to eat lamb, you got to kill him. Okay, that was a bit of an editorial or a footnote. The point is, there are people who don't have that. As I said, in Bengal or all over India, I mean, it's huge, and it's visible. Sometimes you see them cutting the head, chopping the head, cutting the fish right there. They have these things. So people don't care. People go, and sometimes even Vaishnavas in Bengal eat fish. Many Vaishnavas eat fish. They're Vaishnavas, but they eat fish. They don't care about whatever. So for those people, the Purana says, okay, go and do it once a month in Amavasya. So you go to the river and you do this whole ceremony, and then you tell the goat, I kill you this life, next life you kill me. So you know there is a cost. There is karma. There is a sin. But it's kind of, in one sense, it's good for a goat because, okay, it sacrifices you. You say, you become a man, I become a goat. And then after some time, first of all, is restricted. And second, after some time, the guy probably say, hey, but why I should become a goat just for this flesh? Let me eat a pakora or samosa or something else. There's so many good foods, soya or something. So it's okay for certain type of people. They need that. It's better that than just. In fact, Calcutta, sometimes they even have shops, they say this is Kali Prasad or something, which is bogus because Kali don't eat fish. Once I happened to be with Jataka Maharaj, it was a company. I don't know why we went to the Kali temple for something. And there is a Radha Krishna temple inside the Kali Mandir. Kali, they only eat Radha Krishna Prasad. It's all nowadays, it's all bogus. But for those who are addicted to eat meat, fresh eating, yes. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of prostitution. That there will be men in society, first canto, right? There will be men in society, they're not satisfied with woman. They just can't. You know, the brain, the mind is too polluted. Can't just be happy with one woman. So there will be, unless there is some form of prostitution, they will corrupt. They'll corrupt innocent girls. They will do so many things. So somehow, and I know Europe, although it's a European Union, there are different theories about prostitution. In some country, it's legal. No, you have your place. You pay your taxes. In some country, it's illegal, but not persecuted. They don't do anything. They know it's there, but they don't do anything. So it's like tolerated. It's permitted, but not, it's allowed, but not permitted, or permitted, but not allowed. In some countries, it's illegal and they're punished. And in some country, they punish the client. In Scandinavia. In other words, that the prostitute is not punished, but the client is punished. And it's kind of interesting how different jurisprudence, different judicial systems see the same thing in different ways. So this also, what do you call it, points out to a relative morality. I mean, it's the same Europe, right? They all sit in the Strasbourg or those places, they're sitting in their own countries. There are different theories about it. This is an example similar about meat. In a Vaishnava state, say Vaishnava states, there will be some meat eating for some people. And Srila Prabhupada was very clear, we will not want to stop it, but regulate it. It's, when you deal with sociology, we are not managing a temple, okay? Okay, temple, no meat, no fish, no egg, no onion, no garlic. And in some temple, not even no chocolate. That's a big controversy, but we don't get there. Okay, no, nothing. It's pure. But when you talk about the society at large, you're dealing with people. We're not dealing with initiated devotees. Even with our communities, many of our children, they're not initiated. They didn't take the vows. So they'll smoke ganja. They want to experience the world. They never took a vow that I will not touch this, I will not touch that. So how to deal with that? So when you extend that to the whole society, you got to deal with these things. You got to deal with these things. It's not pleasant. There will be prisons, there will be criminals, there will be punishment, there will be some allowance for certain type of different, like smoking. Srila Prabhupada said, was talking because at one point there was prohibition, right? People could not drink. Just the state said, no, you cannot drink. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned, I think in the Bhagavatam first canto, that people would make somehow alcohol, and even in the lavatories there was, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, in the lavatories there would be some business of alcohol smuggling and trading. Some people need alcohol, So the government has to see, okay, it's not good. Now, the government generally, they say, okay, they know smoking is bad, smoking is injurious to health, but they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money from alcohol. They make a lot of money. So it's like a conflict of interest from the state because they know that people are killing themselves, say for smoking. It's clear, okay? They're killing themselves. Full stop. There's no second opinion, right? They are creating a lung cancer. No, but the money, they get the money. I don't know how much. You can Google it. How much the German government gets just from smoke. So there's a conflict of interest. But so that's sometimes we think we say, okay, we want to lead society, but when you lead society, you need to lead a lot of things that may not be the most palatable, but you got to deal with that. I don't know if that gives you any hints, any like that. For Vaishnava, it's not okay, but there are people who are not Vaishnavas, and they have that. In other words, the Vedic culture says, look, wherever you are, you can move forward. Wherever you are. You may not take to Vaishnavism or to pure life, but some step, purer life, something. Next step. Any other comments or any other theme? There are many, many, many themes. One Bhaktivedanta teacher was saying this ninth canto. The ninth canto is the neck of the Lord, and the 10th is the face. And this teacher was joking that this is the neck, but it's also the bottleneck, because there's so many stories which are really hard to
recollect always.
Not only recollect, but also explain. You can see sages, sometimes they curse people without really any reason. You saw Prishadra. There was chapter 2, I believe, that Vashishta cursed him. He was actually innocent. He curses him to become a Shudra, but then Prishadra said, okay, I just do bhakti, and then goes back to God. You have, I think it was the first chapter, King Sudyumna becomes a woman.
Shiva.
But that's there. That was more like this Shiva, this kind of gender minefield. So you go there, you become a woman. That was kind of spontaneous. But the same chapter discusses how Ikshvaku himself, who is Manu, the son of Manu, they have this transgender, no? And Vishnu approves of that. So there are so many things we need to talk about. In the ninth canto, there's so many stories which, of course, we accept, but sometimes to translate it, what does it mean for us, is a little different. In that sense, like bottleneck. Of course, talks about Ramachandra, it talks about Parashurama, so many. But there are also stories which, as today, this Vikukshi thing, a rabbit will see that what happens, that are far from us, far from our capacity to understand the power of these people, or sometimes also the sages who act in a questionable way. And these are the big sages. And this is the nature of the Bhagavatam, because the Bhagavatam, being on top, anything and anybody is like below. The Bhagavatam is Krishna, so everybody is below. So you see the Bhagavatam, even Indra, who is super worshipped in the Vedic culture, sometimes the Bhagavatam shows some sides of him that were not really praiseworthy. And similarly, the sages, Durvasa Muni, we just saw Durvasa Muni running around, please save me. He did something quite questionable. I mean, the Ambarish Maharaj took a little water just to break a fast, and you create a demon to destroy him. It's like, it appears it is certainly unbalanced, right? So anyway, back from the Bhagavatam, everybody is questions basically. Krishna is the supreme authority. The Brahma Vimohan Lila. Brahma is our guru. In fact, in Madhva line, they don't discuss the Brahma Vimohan Lila. Madhvacharya did not comment on that. He wrote the Bhagavata Tatparya, but he didn't touch on that. For them, what they say, Jivottama, Vayu Jivottama, what is that?
Has nothing to do with Brahma. Hari Sarvottama Vayu Jivottama.
Okay, that's
It's
it.
about Vayu.
But Brahma for them is like what they call Brahma.
Acharya. Acharya.
Also for us is Acharya. But the Bhagavatam sometimes shows some sides of Brahma which is not exactly Acharya-like. No problem. So no, it is good because it looks like there are more people. So even Brahma sometimes get the spotlight on Brahma, and you don't kidnap Krishna's our boys, Krishna's friend. You don't do that, right? You don't do that. But does it? But of course, then then he does wonderful prayers which we recite. Tatenu Kampashu. Those are Brahma's prayers. So yeah, that's a Bhagavatam. When you're highest, then everything is lower.
So can I ask a question? How should we see among, let's say, within our organization, if leaders or other people have challenges? Because we see in the ninth canto, even great sages have trouble, but we are sometimes intolerant of mistakes. How should we apply this in a careful manner? Because then it can also be taken another way. That everybody made mistakes anyway. Where do you draw the line?
Okay, we need to see the mistake. See, Srila Prabhupada only, fortunately, a lot of mistakes done by his disciples, right? You can write the whole book, what we saw. Sometimes it was like, what? There's one letter he wrote to, which it was a letter he wrote to a Grihastha. So Srila Prabhupada sometimes was even surprised by how his disciples act in a silly ways. And like, for instance, once he write a letter and say, everybody understands Grihastha means you get a job, you got to maintain your family. Everybody understands that. But why our devotees don't understand that? What's that to understand? You get married, you got to maintain your family. But they don't seem to understand it. And he was surprised. At one point, there is a letter, he said, I'm so disgusted by all this Grihastha business, I will not allow marriage anymore. He stopped allowing marriage because he was like almost so frustrated, so desperate. Said, these people... No, he said, look, I thought you'll be happy. Okay, nice boy, nice girl, you'll be happy. No, you got to divorce, you got to fight, you got to this, that. It's like, so when we see the mistakes that Srila Prabhupada observed, we see at least two categories. One is sensual weakness, like sannyasi falling down, and one philosophical deviation. Two broad categories. So for sensual weakness, he was very tolerant. He writes that purport in the 8th canto. It says, okay, that the Gajendra, say, look, if Gajendra was outside of his element, similarly, sometimes the people take sannyas, they're outside of the element, it's not their thing. They don't have the sannyas yoga, astrologically speaking, they don't have they're not sannyasis, okay? They need a woman. Most of us need a woman. The default setting for human beings, you live with a woman. Some rare people can live without a woman. Srila Prabhupada gave the opportunity, okay, they want sannyas, they give him sannyas, so, but many people failed. So he says in the purport that, okay, if you're not, get married, And he did. When he got married, and he kept engaging them and so on. And he said, if you're fighting for Maya, if that's not a position, fight in the Grihasthashram. So he was very tolerant for sensual weakness. Okay, you're not sannyas anymore. Okay, but no, we are Vaishnava. Keep going. For philosophical deviation, he was very tolerant. Like, for instance, when in 1970s, four sannyasis were influenced from India, some God brothers told different things. The brother Srila Prabhupada told them different things. No, actually, your guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, at one point, one of these sannyasis, they were very young, 1970, they were devotees for 4 years. So for us, 4 years is kind of a new devotee, right? But at that time, they were the sannyasis. At one point, one of them blurted out in the big meeting, Jammaster in New Vrindavan, he said, Srila Prabhupada is God, crazy things to say. But so Srila Prabhupada just kicked them out of his, 4 of them. And they were very dear to him. Brahmananda, you read the Lilamrita, Brahmananda, Gargamuni, brother. Vishnu Jan Swami, the super saint, got involved. And Subal was also. So he just kicked them out of his. Said, no, you're not in his temple. You're sannyasi, keep preaching. And there's no space for you. There's no space for you. And in fact, for 6 months, they were roaming around like that, with banned from ISKCON, and they had no money, then nothing. There's the book, Radha Damodar Vilas, by Vaishaki Prabhu. There are more details on what they were doing. They didn't have a place. They have nothing. So sometimes they would just squat in some a construction site. One time they were inside the construction site sleeping. The police came. Ramananda Maharaj was sleeping in the bathtub. Anyway, after 6 months, Srila Prabhupada restored them. So this is important. There could be a book or at least an article, an essay on this. Sometimes devotees, due to different reasons, the Christian background, whatever, they take more seriously the sensual weakness, and they don't take seriously the philosophical weakness. And also sometimes people start talking nonsense. It's like philosophy is not important. Sexual aspect is more important. But that's like mundane morality. Vaishnavism, philosophical deviation, is much more serious, because that it's the basis of everything. The sexual weakness, unless you're doing something really serious, it's a personal problem. Okay, you cannot be a bystander, but come to the temple, come to Ratha Yatra, you'll see tomorrow different devotees of different standards. There will be, I've never been to Munich Ratha Yatra, but I'm sure there will be devotees with strange hairdo, strange beard, right? And they're welcome. Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. Obviously, be able to be brahmachari, so to live a time normal grihastha life, but they're welcome. And there's naturally their space. They're not leaders of the movement. They may not represent the movement. They're not officers of the movement, but they're part of the family. We love them. They're devotees. There was a Jagannath. There was a Krishna. There was a Srila Prabhupada, and their own things. But philosophical deviation is different. So it's very, very subtle, and it destroys the movement from inside. So what was your question? How to deal with it? Well, you got to categorize, just like in the judicial system in any country. There are different
Degrees of punishment.
Different degrees of punishment. There are different, even what you call categories. There is like civil law and criminal law. It's completely different. Like if you park in a place, they won't put you in jail. They'll give you a fine. They may take out your license, but they'll not put you in jail just for parking somewhere. Unless, I don't know, you park. I'm not sure if I can imagine where you can park that they put you in jail. But generally, they remove the car. They confiscate the car. They can stop you from driving because you can't manage your parking, or they can just fine you, or they can just impound the car, but they will not put you in jail. So similarly, even in spiritual sociology, there are different things. We saw Srila Prabhupada, of course it was only 12 years, but we saw how Srila Prabhupada dealt with different, and he took philosophical deviation much more serious than. And of course, honesty. Okay, if you're going to be a sannyasa, you cannot maintain your sannyasa and be a grihastha. But continue chanting, continue doing service. So it should be honesty. Srila Prabhupada grew up And Gorman there, his father was very, very liberal. The sadhu, and any saffron clothes, I didn't see your saffron clothes. He said, okay, it's a sadhu. It's a Damodar shirt. No, it's a sadhu. I'm joking, but he was really liberal. So anybody with anything to do with sadhu life, they will invite sometimes 4 people every day. 4 people means you feed another family. And they were not rich. So the Srila Prabhupada is so sorry at these people in his house, right? Every day, all this circus of people. Some of them may be very good, but there was one guy who was like a job. He was a married man. In the morning, would put saffron and go back as a sannyasi. And then would come home and be a grihastha again. So Srila Prabhupada saw this whole panorama of variety. So Srila Prabhupada said, okay, honesty. You're sannyasi, keep sannyasi. And if you're grihastha, you're grihastha. In other words, situate yourself. That's the idea. Okay? You're kshatriya, okay, go hunt in the forest. You're shudra, okay, go and kill the goat with all these mantras and this. You're brahmana, you don't eat, you don't hunt, you don't eat, situate yourself and move on. Yeah, honesty, situate yourself. And sometimes Shirada doing the dasi. Sometimes it's not difficult. Sometimes it's hard because there is always tension, not only in ISKCON, everywhere between mercy and justice. Because justice say, well, they broke the rule. I say, well, okay, but it served so many years. A practical example, there was a sannyasi some years ago, not recently, who had a problem. He had some liaison with a woman. And there were people who say, well, no, he should give up his sannyas. Other people say, well, he has been sannyasi for so long, he's so old, they don't really want to humiliate like this. So it's like, okay, he had a problem, he admitted. Don't take his sannyas out, it's like part of his identity. No, he's sannyas, you cannot have the danda. I spoke, the person who was mediating, Braj Bihari Prabhu, famous Braj Bihari Prabhu, he told me there was an exchange of 500 emails just on that. He was mediating. 500 emails, that's a lot of emails. And these are not just email, okay, I'll come at 9 o'clock tomorrow. It's like deep email, arguments and this and that and evidence and discussion. Finally, they decided to just, okay, you can keep sannyas, but you cannot initiate anymore, like that. So sometimes it's not clear what's the best thing. Because you may say, okay, what's the best for society? No, be exemplary punishment. Everybody says, okay, but punish, but maintain is decorum, whatever. So sometimes it's not even simple to sometimes to decide. I mean, you could say the Bhagavatam starts like that, with the Ashwatthama thing, right? Should be killed, should not be killed. And these are, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhima, Krishna. It's not then Draupadi say, no, but he's the son of our Guru. And everybody is right? Everybody has got some shot. They're not just sentimental people. These are kshatriyas. They can kill people. So what to do? So the Bhagavad kind of starts with that. That sometimes it's not so easy. And then they decide, okay, cut this gem that he had, the cut this, it's like killing you, humiliate him, but it's don't kill the body, kind of kill him socially. And so many times these things happen because there is a law, it's broken. Technically you should do something, but they do something else. Like Arjuna said, whoever tells me to put down my Gandiva bow, I'll kill. He said that. These are kshatriyas, they are not people who talk like that. But then Yudhishthira tells him something like that. You're a Mahabharata expert. Yudhishthira tells him something, he said, now I have to kill Yudhishthira. And then they said, no, but you can kill him by just insulting him. So sometimes the law of even the famous story of the disrobing of Draupadi was Dharma, was not Dharma, and so on. So sometimes it's not 100%. We are a young movement, so we kind of learn now how we move on. Okay, thank you so much for your attention and for giving me an opportunity. We close here, I guess. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.